Hi everyone, so let's talk about this cleaver. My good friend, he's a person that has 3 of my knives that I made from. He always buys knives from me. So he was working on a house and they were remodeling and they took the radiator away, and behind the wall he found a cleaver. So he saw my previous videos how I restored the cleavers and he wanted that cleaver to be restored. So he contacted me and asked me to restore for him, and I agreed. I get a lot of comments saying that that cleaver was used in a crime scene or something like that, but I don't know. Nobody knows and nobody will ever know. But the one thing I know is when it came to me, it had a lot of cat hair on it, and the handles really stunk with cat urine. So I used those blue rubber gloves to handle it, and I threw the handles away. But like I said, maybe somebody used this on a cat, and just. But the whole cleaver was covered with the cat hair. So I don't know. I don't know why somebody put it behind the wall. So it'll be a mystery. In the beginning, Tom and I agreed to have a nice satin finish on the cleaver, just the same one as that I did for Mr. Barnhart, the second one. But after I received the cleaver, I saw that there was not enough steel on the cleaver itself. So if you look at it, you have a lot of steel here, the thickness right here, but then take a look, it becomes thin at this portion. So I mean, there's maybe 1/8 thick here and 1/4 inch thick here. So in order to make it nice and flat, I would have to grind everything to this thickness, and even then, you see how everything is kind of not flat. So there was no point of making there was no point of grinding the whole cleaver to put a nice satin finish. So both of us decided to leave it as is, and it also preserved the logo of the cleaver, of the original maker. I tried to Google it, see who made it, but nothing came up in the results. After leaving the cleaver in the vinegar for 48 hours, a lot of rust came off, and it revealed, like I said, it revealed the logo of the cleaver, and also it showed me the steel pattern that I have not seen before. It looked like cast iron, but later on, one of the viewers that follows me on YouTube, he said that it was a wrought iron body with carbon steel for the edge. Some viewers thought that I should have spent more time on the cleaver and hand sand and everything, and some of them said that I should have threw it away because the cleaver had a lot of cracks in it and delamination. But on the other hand, a lot of people loved it, and they appreciated that I left the original texture of the steel and didn't take the grinder and just grind everything off of it. Also, by not grinding the whole blade, it preserved the logo. To the person that commented that because of the cracks in the cleaver, that cleaver should have never been restored and just thrown away. From the business side of you, if somebody gives you work to be worked on, you just take it and do what they want. And also, Thomas is a knife collector. He collects many knives, and this cleaver is not going to be used chopping up anything. He stores all the knives that I make. He keeps them in the same condition as they left my hands. So this cleaver is not going to be used in any way, shape, or form.
Never used and never it's gonna be used. Wow. It's too perfect.
One viewer commented that I should have left all the hammer marks on this cleaver like I did on Mr. Barnhart's, but this cleaver was so damaged to a point that the edges were so sharp and I had to grind them off, and Tom also agreed for me to grind them off to make the cleaver look much better, and so it'd be much safer to use in hands. This cleaver was not easy to work on because I couldn't place it on I used a 1 to 3 blocks, and I usually place it, and then I use the height gauge and I find the center, and then I transfer that center onto the handle. But I couldn't do it with this cleaver because it didn't have the same thickness here as here, so I couldn't find the center of it. So this part I find the center here, but when I check it here, it would be off, you know. So everything had to be done by eye, and it was pain to work on it. It gave me a little problems, but eventually it came out good. All the materials used on this cleaver were approved by Tom, and I used the same Damascus steel from Nichols Damascus that I used on Tom's Tanto knife I made way back earlier. I used the ironwood, G10 fiberglass, ironwood, stabilized redwood burl, and maple burl. And yes, I'm still placing logos per customer's request. Why did I use Vaseline on a tang of the cleaver? I wanted to connect the ironwood G10, ironwood, and the redwood burl together, and after they're all glued up, I didn't want the excess of glue to be stuck to the tank. I wanted to be able to slide off, so that's why it's so the glue wouldn't stick to the tank, the metal piece. That's the only reason. I used a little trick I learned from Nick Wheeler. He used a black tape and he placed it on a metal piece here. What it did, it created space so when the finish and fit of the wood would not be flat with the steel or the bolster, and it gives a little nice finish or a nice touch to the finished product. I'd like to thank Metal Rescue for contacting me and giving me their product to try it out, and it was perfect timing because after using the vinegar, it did not remove all the rust. I mean, it removed like 90% of the rust, but not all of it, and I was planning to take the blade and get it sandblasted, but they contacted me and offered their product, and it worked great. I used that gel pack and it took the rust off, and also it left a very nice patina. This way it distinguishes the different layers of the cleaver, so I think it came out beautiful, and the Metal Rescue gel worked very well. I'm very pleased with that product. Thank you. Those of you that watch my videos for a long time, you know that I don't usually sharpen my knives or cleavers while I'm working on them. This way I don't have to think about getting cut. But this time I sharpened it, and after using that gel Metal Rescue, I washed it off with a hose and I tried to get the patina rubbed off, and I cut myself. So yeah, it wasn't fun, but that's why I don't usually sharpen my knives. Now I'd like to address something that's not pertaining to the cleaver. It's about how people view how I answer the questions or reply to the comments that are left. So a viewer asked me, what type of wood did I use for the cleaver? What's the name of it? I responded to him by saying, did you watch the video? Did you see what was written on a piece of wood, of block, that green wood? So then another viewer read my answer or the comment that I left to that person, and he said that I was being rude, and this is what he told me. He went on to say that if I spent quarter of the energy on a blade that I did on a handle, then maybe I could have had something that looked good. So here's my response to that person. I've been making videos for over 3 years, and over that time I've replied to a lot of comments and questions, and the most common questions that I get is, what type of steel did you use? What type of wood did you use? What's that piece of material did you use? What type of tools is that you're using at this particular video, in this particular video? So replying to people and their comments and questions is very time consuming. So what I try to do now is I take my time and effort, and I try to write it on that piece of block of wood, the name of it, if I'm using a piece of metal in the beginning of the video, I write what type of steel it is and what thickness it is. This way, hoping that it would eliminate those questions. And guess what? People just don't care. Why? Because they skip through my videos. They don't watch my videos from the beginning to end. Let's take the recent knife that I made, the Legionnaire knife from the Expendables. Number one question is the knife for sale? Can you make that knife for me? What is the first thing you see in the description when you look? Knife is not for sale, and I tell you specifically why the knife is not for sale. People still ask me if I could make them another one. The other question is, what type of steel is it? Very beginning of the video, it's written on a piece of steel, on a metal, that it's CPM 154. There are some commenters that ask me, hey, what type of steel is it? And then there are some people that reply back to them saying, oh, it's probably aluminum. Listen, guys, if you don't know the answer for that specific question, please don't answer it. It just makes you look stupid. And I don't want my product to look, or I don't want people to think that I'm using aluminum or something that's not what I used, you know. So just, if you don't know, don't answer. I had one fan tell me that he loves watching my videos, and then the question came up, do you heat treat your own knives? And I was very puzzled by that question, and I asked him straight up. I said, do you watch the whole entire video that I post, or you skip around? He goes, well, I didn't see you heat treat the knife. I said, oh yeah, did you watch all the videos, all the parts? He goes, yeah. I said, well, in those parts I show you how I heat treat my knives. He goes, oh yeah, I kind of skipped around. So when people ask me what type of wood or steel I used, that's why I ask them straight up, did you watch my video? Did you see this part? I'm not trying to be rude to them, but I mean, to a certain point, it becomes obvious to me that they did not watch the whole video. So that's why I asked that question, if he watched the video or not. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm trying to understand if the person has a very legitimate question, or are they lazy. And usually people are lazy to go and look up or watch the whole video, or look below the video to see in a description that, hey, here's all the parts and materials used for that particular knife. The other thing that I started doing was when people ask me questions pertaining what steel or wood I used, I try to tell them, hey, go look below the video in the description. This way, next time when they watch my video, they will not be asking me. They will first check the description, and if I forget to mention what I used in that video, then I'll answer it to them. But I don't want to just give out the answers without them doing their part, looking it up below the video. I get comments that people tell me they would like to reach my level of craftsmanship and they look up to me. I too have people that I look up to and I would love to get to their level of craftsmanship, and they are Edmund Davidson. He doesn't have a YouTube channel but has an Instagram, and there's another channel that his name is Kyle Royer, and I would love to get to his level. Kyle has been making knives for 14 years, and he has a very wonderful YouTube channel. And if you guys want to learn something above and beyond what I show you, I think you should go follow his channel and check it out. He has great content, so tell him I said hi. Just recently finished this one. It's a Serega knife. It has the kind of leather pattern sheath. It's a Holstex. I love this sheath. It brings a lot of texture, and it looks like leather, but it's not. So plus I can work with it. I don't have leather tools yet, but ironwood handles with shorter handle, and I'll tell you what happened. So customer came up to me and asked me if I could make a knife, 2 knives for his 2 kids, and I showed him. I brought him the the original size, and he goes, oh, that's too long, too big. His kids are like around 10 years old and 9 or 8. So he said, I want something shorter with the handle. So I cut down the handle, moved everything up, and started working on it. And later on he comes back, hey, I'm not gonna buy the knife. So still, I finished it. It's beautiful. Love it. Thank you for watching my videos. Be safe. Don't cut yourself while making knives. Take care. I'll see you in the next video. I forgot I sharpened it. I usually never sharpen my knives until I'm done.